The Baseball Hall of Fame just released its new inductees for the 2024 class, and I'm here to tell you what they got right, as well as what they got wrong. If you enjoy this sort of content, please be sure to subscribe, and let's get right into it. Starting with the one they got right, Adrian Beltre was an easy one to throw onto the ballot, and it was more of a matter if he would go unanimous or not. Unfortunately, he fell a bit short of that mark, but his career is still incredibly impressive. Across his 21-year MLB career, he amassed over 90 WAR, over 3,100 hits, and 477 home runs. Beltre also accumulated some accolades, being a 4-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger, 5-time Gold Glover, 2-time Platinum Glover, as well as being in the top 10 of MVP voting 6 times. Whether you remember Beltre hitting dingers off one knee, making smooth defensive plays, or threatening teammates for touching his head, Adrian is as much of a Hall of Famer as they come. Another first-timer to be inducted on July 21st is longtime Minnesota Twin Joe Mauer. Mauer wasn't as clear of a first-ballot Hall of Famer as Beltre, but that doesn't take away from the incredible career he had, and more specifically, his peak years from 2006 to 2013. During that 8-year stretch, Mauer played in 1,012 games, with a slash line consisting of a 327 average, 410 on base, 473 slugging, giving him an 883 OPS, with 248 doubles and 90 home runs from the catcher's position. He was also nominated for 5 All-Star appearances, 5 Silver Sluggers, 3 Gold Gloves, and even won an MVP award in 2009. All of which sounds well and good, but it's after Mauer's age 30 season where people are left asking questions. For much of Mauer's 30s, he spent time as a first baseman to prolong his prime hitting and to save him from injury. The problem is the hitting never showed back up at the elite level he showed before, and he spent the final 5 years of his career much closer to league average. To most voters, though, this appeared to be one of those cases where you don't overthink it too much. A player that the committee is overthinking is Andruw Jones, who did once again miss that final cut in his 7th year on the ballot. Jones has been gaining traction year after year, and based off historical trends, should make it next year. But for right now, he's being left out. Jones is a 5-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glover, as well as a 1-time Silver Slugger winner. He had a career WAR of 62.7 with a slash line consisting of a 254 batting average, 337 on base, 486 slugging, giving him an 823 OPS. Similarly to Mauer, Jones did not hold the same value into his 30s, and his stats really got hampered by some mediocre, injury-riddled seasons with the Dodgers, Rangers, White Sox, and Yankees. With that in mind, Jones's case can be made considerably easier than that. All that really needs to be said is, Jones is the greatest defensive center fielder that the game has ever seen. To go along with that, he has been a plus bat over the course of his career, who hit 434 home runs. That career home run number sandwiches him between other Hall of Famers like Billy Williams, Mike Piazza, Cal Ripken Jr., as well as steroid-era Juan Gonzalez and fellow nominee Carlos Beltran, who we will get to later. The case against Jones is of course the longevity, or the lack thereof. However, we are allowing a player like Joe Mauer in, who has a very similar vein of excellent peak with not great longevity. Obviously, Mauer is going as a catcher, so that makes his candidacy a little easier, but it's relatively close to the same case. There just isn't a good reason to leave Jones out when compared to the precedent that has been set. The precedent that had to be set for Todd Helton to make the Hall of Fame was Larry Walker beating the Coors Field stigma in the class of 2020. Helton put together a fine career being a 5-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger, 3-time Gold Glover, along with winning a batting title in 2000. To get those awards, he had a career slash line of a 316 average, 414 on base with a 539 slugging, and a 953 OPS. He accumulated over 2,500 hits and over 350 home runs as well. It is important to remember that Helton's numbers were significantly better at home when compared to the road. Todd's OPS rose almost 200 points while playing in the Mile High City, and that is a larger reason why he was not considered during the earlier years of his ballot. However, unlike Mauer and Jones, Helton's success was over a much longer stint of time, so those final years of counting stat chasing didn't matter all the same. With it being Helton's 6th year on the ballot, it was due for him to make the trip to Cooperstown, even with the crowded ballot. And now it's time for the scandalous players of the video. Let's go ahead and start with previously mentioned Carlos Beltran. Beltran by all accounts has the pedigree and stats to be a Hall of Famer. He is a career 279 hitter with a 350 on base with a 486 slugging percentage, giving him an 873 OPS. Beltran won a Rookie of the Year award in 1999. He He was a 9-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner, and a 2-time Silver Slugger, and in his age 40 season, he eclipsed baseball's tallest mountain, winning a World Series with the Houston Astros. It's in that season, however, where he hurt his candidacy significantly. Beltran has become the scapegoat for the 2017 Houston Astros cheating scandal, with reports saying a veteran player was looking for a bump in his play. It's easy to point fingers at the 40-year-old Beltran, who was in the middle of a rough season, but there were a number of veterans on that team that it could have came from. Either way, it cost Beltran a managerial job and is impacting his Hall of Fame candidacy. Luckily, we did see a massive jump from year 1 to 2, so it shouldn't be too many more years before Beltran makes his way to Cooperstown. While the impacts of the scandal are still being felt today, that season had no bearing on Beltran's individual Hall of Fame case. Beltran didn't need another season where he had a sub 700 OPS or a World Series ring to make the Hall of Fame, and an alleged case should not be held against him. However, the worst mishandling of this ballot has to possibly do with the biggest scandal in Major League Baseball history: steroids. For the most part, the precedent with steroids was that if you had been associated with them in any form, you were not allowed in the Hall, unless your name was David Ortiz. Legends like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are the most notable names that were never even suspended by the MLB for steroid use to not make the Hall. With that being said, how can we consider names like Gary Sheffield, who admitted to steroid use, Alex Rodriguez, who was suspended for a season as well as admitting to steroid use, as well as Manny Ramirez, who was suspended twice for PEDs? That's not to say these guys didn't have Hall of Fame careers, all of which put up numbers well above the criteria, with Rodriguez and Ramirez going first ballot under normal circumstances. However, the precedent is the precedent, and if Barry Bonds couldn't get in, none of them should really be considered. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this sort of content, please be sure to subscribe for more, and as always, have a wonderful day.